Hey, welcome back, everybody. You are tuned in to Get Well Soon, the red pill content of Welly F, aka Moriarty. And today's episode is brought to you by the makers of the documentary Out of Shadows. I watched it twice, watched it last night, and I rewatched half of it this morning because I felt like there was some stuff that I missed. And I'm pretty much keep this fairly spoiler free because I don't really want to get into necessarily exactly what it's about, meaning I don't want to go detail for detail explaining this documentary. So I'm simply just gonna, like I usually do, just relate to it in as far as the red pill aspect of it. Obviously, this is a documentary described as a documentary that lifts the mask on how the mainstream media and Hollywood manipulates and controls the masses by spreading propaganda throughout their content. Our goal is to wake up. You hear that? Our goal is to wake up. That is the red pill portion that you need to understand, that is usually affiliated with the awakening of a person when they realize a lot of the bullshit that they've been fed by society, whether it was mainstream media, their parents, their peers, all of that stuff brought together. And yes, there are people that are going to tell you, why do people always say red pill and that's a matrix phrase and blah, blah, blah. Understand something. Just because red pill is heavily affiliated with males means nothing. Red pill is the awakening. Everybody can wake up. One thing that I've recently discovered is women are less likely to buy into the ideal of waking up. Yes, you had women that contributed to making the ideal of the red pill, meaning awakening, due to their affiliation with the matrix, but you need to understand something. That is a rare thing to happen. Look around you. Like, the things that women discuss and the things that women do on a day-to-day basis don't really require a lot of deep thinking. A lot of the thinking that you get from women today is a lot of linear thinking. We all have our moments of linear thinking. We just have this mindset where, we want it to be as practical as possible. We want it to make all the sense in the world. Some of us are willing to go down and follow that white rabbit. Some of us are willing to say, you know what? Let me see what this white rabbit has to offer. That's why I feel like Alice in Wonderland is it's an interesting concept, because once again, there aren't a lot of women today that would have followed the white rabbit, because metaphorically speaking, most women today, if you can't provide them the information that they're looking for, they're probably not going to dig any deeper as far as real social concepts go outside of basic relationships. That's what women thrive off of. That's what women love to talk about. They love to talk about relationships. They like to talk about the social aspect and the intersectional dynamics of women and men and things like that. Sexuality. It doesn't really go much beyond that. A lot of things, when you converse with women, it rarely ever goes beyond sexuality. So, once again, I'm really here to talk about the red pill aspect of this movie, of this documentary, like I'm doing now. And all I'm saying is, when they talk about the waking up of the general public by shedding light on how we all have been lied to and brainwashed by a hidden enemy with a sinister agenda. The project is the result of 2 years of blood, sweat, and tears by a team of woke professionals. I don't necessarily like that terminology. I think these people are just critical thinkers. I don't like the terminology conspiracy theorist. I don't like woke. If you're critical thinking and you're able to do anything other, if you're able to do everything outside of just linear thinking and just practical thinking, just label yourself a critical thinker, or somebody that's rational, somebody that questions everything, because you know that based off of your prior experience, a lot of the things that have been handed to you and force-fed to you, it can't be trusted. Like, a lot of us have gotten to the point in society now where when we buy food, When we buy anything, we're looking at who made it. We're looking at what this product consists of. And that's not everybody, but there is a select few people that do that because they realize the importance of knowing what society is trying to hide from them, because they know a majority of society does not like to read the fine print. I talked about it weeks ago on an episode that I titled, that was referencing a rapper by the name of Megan Thee Stallion, and I linked it to plausible deniability. Once again, a woman in a situation where she's not necessarily thinking outside of the box. The only time she thought outside of the box is when she needed to manipulate the situation to work in her favor. Now, understand something. The documentary, unless you're in this realm of people that consider themselves quote unquote conspiracy theorists, you may not have any idea about this movie. The thing that I like about this movie is the fact that, they're bold with it. They go into the dangers of Hollywood. There's a couple of stuntmen that basically, deliver you some messages that make you think. There's a journalist in there. I believe she's a Trump supporter, and she's fairly well known, and she's received her criticism for exposing some Hollywood parasites. I call them parasites because I no longer believe in calling them elite, because although they would like to be considered as elite, that's what feeds their ego. These people are just parasites. They feed off of the turmoil, off of the downturn of society. That's when they thrive the most. Similar to how you see things going on with this pandemic that we're experiencing now. They feed off of these moments. They wait for recessions to happen so they could become even richer and even wealthier. That's what they do. They love to collapse societies in order to fatten their pockets. These people are parasites because, in my opinion, parasites like to sneak up on people. They like to get people when they're at their weakest. We don't live in a world where most of our nations want their constituents to be strong. We live in a world where most societies, most nations want their constituents to be weak. They want their citizens to be fragile. They want their citizens to be easily manipulated. Because when you have people scared and weak, they're easier to control. And that's why in this documentary it points out that nobody is immune to this. And they start you young. They've been doing this since like the 30s and 40s. Just do your research on people like Judy Garland. Just do your research on Jeffrey Epstein. Do your research on these things on your own. And yes, when I say research, watch documentaries, get books, Google stuff. When you go into Wikipedia, make sure that you're not just looking at the bold letters in Wikipedia. Go to those hyperlinks at the bottom. Once again, that's something that as a man and as a male, you should want to do, because today, in today's culture, men are, if anything, like, we're at the bottom of the totem pole as far as what society is relying on. The society only wants us when they know that they can utilize us for something that they don't want to do to get their hands dirty. We're the fall guy. Women are not the fall guy. It's just not what it is. So as a man, I'm encouraging you, if you're listening to this, to understand something. We have to be critical thinkers, because every moment that we live on this planet, when we're not thinking deeper and when we're not trying to figure out why something is, it's going to cost us. So I tell you, as I'm telling you this documentary, it basically gets to the point where even the guy by the end says you need to disconnect and you need to question things. And that's basically my purpose of coming here. That's why I said I'm not going to review this documentary. Watch it on your own time. I think it's like an hour and 17 minutes. Not really a long watch, but it's solid. To me, it's one of these documentaries where you actually feel like, most documentaries are biased, but you walk away from this documentary kind of, with an eye opener, like, I'm going to start looking at some things. This documentary is not just mere entertainment. This is one that like the most popular ones, you realize it's a little biased, but it makes you say, okay, let me see if it has some value to it. Let me see if it has some merit. And you start watching things differently. It didn't take this documentary for me to start realizing things. It just took experiences in life for me to say, okay, the red pill is something I had to take in order to realize that most of the stuff around me is BS. I unplugged, and a lot of people look at me like I'm crazy, but that's fine. Because I know that the people that would watch this documentary and actually gain something from it or enjoy it, though that is a rare group of people. Yeah, you're gonna see 4.9 million views and you're gonna see a bunch of likes on this video, but I guarantee you, that is a worldwide number probably, and that isn't even a fraction of the people that need to be exposed to this. Just think about it. In America alone, we have 300 million plus people, and a lot of people that would benefit from this are men, especially men with children. Like, I don't know what else I can say more, but just understand that this documentary is definitely one of those documentaries you can walk away from realizing that, hey, maybe I need to view things a little differently. Maybe I need to ask more questions, not just in regards to Hollywood, but in regards to life, in regards to government, in regards to what your parents have taught you, in regards to what the indoctrination camps have taught you. School, if you don't know. I could go on forever, but anyway, check out this documentary. I think it's worth a watch, in my opinion. And remember, you got to disconnect. Don't be scared to follow that white rabbit. Until we meet again.